As the state of Florida begins sinking into the ocean, the mayor is going to need you to come in this weekend. He is more than willing to reopen Vice City as a crocodile.
Honey, the baby's on fire again.
More on that after the break. Could the future of currency be happening right before our eyes?
Hi there,
the
happy
new
Sunday.
cryptocurrency
God be
Bitcoin has been gaining
We're just going door to door to let you know about the local
Mormon
Mormon
church.
church.
We were wondering if we could marry that lovely wife of yours. As the state of
Florida
Florida
is
is
going
going
door
to
to door to let you know
the
about the
cryptocurrency
Mormon
church.
church.
We were wondering if we could marry that lovely wife of
moguls.
yours. The FQ2, Fathom's answer to the age-old question, how do we convince people the crossover isn't as lame as it seems? In fact, there were many attempts. Emperor tried its best to make something compact and practical, Vapid did what America does best and made the biggest thing they could, and lastly, in true Germanic fashion, Benefactor overcompensated and overcomplicated with their idea of sport luxury. On the other hand, Annis's North American branch attempted to tick all three boxes. Only trouble is the FQ2 fails to meet a single one of them. However, it's important to give credit where it's due. The FQ2 was designed at the beginning of the compact SUV crossover fad, and managed to push the market rather than bounce off of it. A historic example of the latter was when the Class A stuck its neck out too early with the Rhapsody. The goal was to pioneer the market of a somewhat compact hatch by the end of the 1970s. Instead of the trailblazing success they had hoped for, the Rhapsody confused customers with its design and encouraged competitor sales because gas was still practically free. Imagine asking the Class A's compact design team how they felt about being ahead of their time while they packed up their desks. The FQ2 was a driving force behind the post-recession predominance of crossover SUVs. It allowed dads to feel like they were only sacrificing some of their dignity, without fully committing to something soul-crushing like a minivan or an SUV, stretching the goalpost just far enough to convince people that the compact SUV cobbled together from a car platform was flashy. Yet it didn't save Fathom. When was the last time you heard someone excited about the next Fathom product? Yeah, didn't think so. If you want Japanese sports luxury, you go with Emperor. The FQ2 comes equipped with all-wheel drive as standard, but it squeezes out forward momentum slower than last night's Bleederburger. If Fathom is to be believed, the FQ2 is powered by a turbocharged V8, but the sluggish performance ensures you won't even notice. Unsurprisingly, the FQ2 takes corners with as much finesse as a shipping container, due to how top-heavy the thing is. The interior is on par with late 2000s luxury, sporting just about everything you really need, yet there is a definite lack in infotainment tech. But that also means a lack of annoying lane assist sensors, electric hatches that refuse to shut, and visit dealership messages after the pressure drops in one of your tires. Instead, you're greeted with a plethora of plastic buttons, switches, and dials. The FQ2 has a surprisingly competent amount of room for the legs of its rear passengers, and the trunk area seems relatively generous for that of a crossover. Enough room to look utilitarian without the hassle of actually having to move or do anything. And in today's world, the statement of what we can do is enough to prevent us from actually having to do so. It's clear R&D knew what they were doing here, especially when they gave it twin exhaust, so hats off to them. Perhaps the most interesting part of the FQ2 is its design. The crossover hosts a postmodern blend through an array of swooping curves and rigid inclines. The combination of hard and smooth angles across its profile conceals the crossover's bulky appearance. In a weird way, the mixture draws to mind the distortions of wartime dazzle paint on ships traveling across the Atlantic. However, instead of decreasing your chances of catching a torpedo, the FQ2 increases your chances of break-ins and vehicle thefts. And for all of its attempts to separate itself from the competition, you'll still find that these crossovers fit just as comfortably in the lull of LS traffic as the SUVs do. Unfortunately, there's not a lot you can say about the FQ2. As far as crossovers go, the torch has been passed, leaving Fathom in darkness. Its prime demographic continues to wallow in denial that they traded their livelihood years ago. Much like its parent company, the FQ2 is stagnated like swamp water. You can buy these aging FQ2s in the cheap. Just don't expect the repairs to be anything less than an arm and a leg. Remember, these were still just Annis's sold to people with fister money. The Fathom FQ2, a product of demographic polling and extensive market research which manages to remain the crossover that nobody asked for.